Hey guys, it's John, Small Town, Small Time Bookseller, here with another video. I know, I was surprised as you are, but here I am. And this is gonna be one that some will love, some will hate, but most will be rather ambivalent, which is probably the best way it could be. Because I'm gonna cover all of February, trying to get caught up to ye old and modern times, and just kick the trash can. And so I'm doing that as best I can, so I'm not going to try to elaborate a whole lot. Going to try not to ramble too much like I am currently. And we're going to get to the books, because that's what I do. I sell books on eBay, mostly books. I do sell some things that are not books. And I also will talk about those. But I don't do garage sale videos. I don't do yard sale videos. I don't do, the GoPros. At the Goodwill bins are looking at my hands grown stiff, the fingers brittle as twigs, eyes bewildered after 7 years, and almost blind, buds which can see only the wind, the mouth cracking like rocking fire, trying to say, "What is this?" You find only the shape you already are. But what if you have forgotten that, or discover you have never known? Well, that would be a great Goodwill bins video if that were the way it actually would work out. Probably not. So, you ready for this? All right, we are talking about a bunch of sales. I don't even want to tell you how many, because I'm afraid you're going to go, "Whoo, too much for me. Thanks. Skip. Go on. Let's see what Harry Tornado or ADH Dave is doing." But no, hang around. You're going to want at least skip to the end and see the last 4 sales. They're good. The rest of them, that's what keeps your business afloat. The last 4, that's what keeps you coming back for more. Like when you're in this business and you find those good sales. So, oh, hat for the day. It says bear. I don't know what that symbol is. I tried to Google Lensify it and I couldn't find anything. I asked my kids, "Do you recognize that symbol?" But it's a New Era hat. It's a 940 New Era hat. So you'd think it was something, and it may be, and I just don't know what it is. So if you would like a hat that says bear on it, and it's worn only briefly by me, then $5 for you, no matter what horrifically astronomical price I put on it when I place it in my store. If you put a bid on it for $5 and set an offer for $5, tell me you're a viewer, then it is yours. Classy looking hat, don't you think? I don't like it. All right. Anyhow, here we are. We're getting into it. So I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on these, and just to get through them all. So save your questions for the end. All right. First thing I sold was a baseball card, 2013 Allen Ginter Chris Heisey game used memorabilia for a whopping $3. Because, it's Chris Heisey. I don't know. I just had that card and I sold it. $3. So somebody was collecting Cincinnati Reds stuff, I suppose. Next, I did sell 2 Q-Link SIM cards. Talked about those plenty, so we don't need to know anything more about that. Now, I thought about really just cutting out a lot of these low-dollar sales and just hitting the high-dollar ones and kind of picking and choosing, and so you wouldn't have to sit through all the little low-dollar ones. But if I had done that, I wouldn't have been able to share this with you. Carve Your Own Hilly Bilkins, the Little People of the Ozarks. 1979 copy, sold for $8. But that's a good sale. That cost me next to nothing, 50 cents probably. And it goes in a padded mailer and off you go. That's an easy few dollars right there. So the Hilly Bilkins. All right. Next, I sold some more Dansk. I was pronouncing it last time as Dansk, because it's like from Denmark, I believe, and I thought that's probably how they would pronounce it. But I got a comment on it, and it's Dansk is probably more how people would pronounce it. And I think last time I was contemplating whether to do a Jugend Dansk, if you want to, joke, but I refrained, and so now I've kind of brought it up. But anyway, I sold some bread plates, 7-inch bread plates for $8. I sold one for $8. And moving on, here's a Blu-ray disc of BBC 7 Worlds, 1 Planet, sold for $9. And then we have the Introduction to the Study of Bach, Volume 1, sold for $9. Sheet music is a great thing. It sells, it's not often a lot. Now you get some anthologies, some books that are like, modern, like rock bands that have, a lot of sheet music. They'll often sell pretty well for good money. This is like classical pieces. This is Introduction to Study of Bach, or you might have just a violin concerto or oboe studies or things like that that are more classically based, and they will sell. People still use those things a lot, but they're not going to sell for a lot of money. But you're helping out some poor little college student trying to get better on the oboe, or in this case, a piano. Then I sold this. Check these out. This is a lot of Melissa and Doug hand puppets. Found these at the thrift store near my work. They don't sell they give them, I don't know, like 25 cents a piece on plush. So I always look through there, and I saw these, and I recognized the name Melissa and Doug, so I thought they might sell for something. They did, but not for a lot. So only over $10, but still $10, and they're, hard to break and easy to ship. That's the way I like it. Next, we had this book in a foreign language, Sapiens, Kratka Historia Człowieczeństwa. So something along those lines. I don't even know what language it is. What is that? Albanian or Croatian maybe, or something along those lines. I am not sure. But it's over $10. So you see something that you don't know what it says because it's in a language you don't speak, don't shy away from it. Go ahead and take a look. So it might be worth something. I think I see Serbian now. Serbia. I think it's Serbian. Is it what language this was in? There are people who speak Serbian that want to read novels in Serbian. So go ahead and sell it to them. Why not? All right, here's a example of a more modern music book that I'm talking about. An Alabama Deluxe Anthology sold for $11. And mine was in pretty bad shape. If it was in better condition, it would have sold for more. But one of the reasons it was only 11 is it was kind of rough. And then we had the next one, Artillery Tactics, 1939 to 1944. The Mechanics of War sold for $12. This was a fun one. I like this. The 1958 Walt Disney Zorro, the authorized TV edition. Like, that's going to be a selling point. It's a TV edition. Anyways, it's sold for $12. It's kind of fun. A lot of, you just never know. I find, I don't know enough about the vintage Walt Disney books, or, you find a lot of golden books that you never know what age they are. The older ones could have some value, so it's always worth looking up if you get something that's older. This is in 58, so it's definitely worth, selling it for $12. Why not? All right, the next one, Zhao Yi Classic Chinese Characters, sold for $12. So we've had Serbian and we've had Chinese so far, and Danish plates and Alabama music. So it's a we are treading the world lightly. Next, we have more of the Graphic 45. These sell very well. This is journaling, ephemera cards, called Graphic 45 Seasons Collection, sold for $12. And then another classic in the fiction side, International Collectors Library book, The Jungle Books, sold for $12. International Collectors versions are, I forget the year, but they're older, maybe 60s, 70s. They don't sell for a lot of money, but they'll sell. They're nice copies. Often they look good, of a lot of classic books. So I would not worry about selling those a bit. Then we have a more modern fiction. I have a lot of fiction today. Mostly I sell nonfiction, but there does seem to be a good amount of fiction. This is The Phantom of Barker Hill, Blue Moon Investigations, Book 2, sold for $12.50. And then we have a paperback book called Mustang, The Story from Zero to a Billion. Paperback by Bill Higgs, sold for $14. I believe, I'm not looking at it, you are, but I believe that's the book, the car, the Mustang, and a lot of books related to classic names, Corvette, Mustang, they're gonna sell. Here's a visor, Wimbledon visor, sold for white. Wimbledon visor sold for $15. Something Like Human, full sheet music guitar tab edition. So another music anthology, sold for $15. Here's a cybersecurity, what you need to know about computer and cybersecurity, 15 bucks. And, oh, here we go, another language here, Spanish. It's a Spanish Bible, La Biblia, El Sembrador, a Spanish Bible, sold for $15. So I sell a lot of Spanish language material. History of Clowns by Duncan Royal. I thought this was an interesting one. And I just figured it would probably sell $16 for this, History of Clowns. I thought that was an interesting one. Oh, here's a cool looking hat. I like this one. Daytona International Speedway official fire truck hat with the black flames on it. Sold for $17. Isn't that a cool looking hat? I like that one. But Daytona, obviously a lot of racing themed hats are good sellers. Motor in general, like automotive themed hats, but especially racing ones. And then this one, that fire truck hat seemed to have a lot of sales. So if you see any that say official fire truck hat, those seem to have pretty good sell-through rate. All right, a Jane Austen Barnes & Noble edition. Those Barnes & Noble ones are beautiful. Some can be very valuable. Which one was it? I can't remember now, but I remember hanging out at the half-price bookstore waiting for some books to sell, and they have some books behind a glass counter, and they had some Barnes & Noble editions that were, over $100, maybe even a couple $100. So always look up your Barnes & Noble editions and to see. They'll almost always sell no matter what they are, but there are some that are quite valuable. Vintage Inland Marine Insurance. Ocean and Inland, I don't know. You're looking at it. I don't even know what that is. $17 though. So anything a little esoteric, if it's got a limited scope to it, there are more specific things get when the nonfiction, often the more likely it is to sell. So the next one, the Set Lighting Technician's Handbook, sold for $18. Here's another CD, Leonard Skinner 3-disc collection, sold for $18.50. Got this. Goodwill bins, along with the books, you'll often find a lot of CDs. I always obviously have to check to make sure they're in good condition. This one, the Leonard Skinner, and I think this was already opened. It was used, but it was in good shape, and hey, $18.50. Fuck Wolf. No, that's FW190 in German edition. Hey, we got another language. All right, we add German to the list. The Flugzeugtechnik, $18.50 for the Folk Wolf. I don't remember what that is. Is that a plane? I can't remember. I should have looked that up before I got on here. All right, this was a good sale because I was glad to finally sell these. I mentioned these in a video quite a while back. These Scotch magnetic tapes that I found that had on the outside, one of them said Elton John, another one said Carly Simon, another one said BTO. And I had no way to test them out. They were the magnetic tape reels. I don't know if there's anything actually on them or not, so I couldn't sell them as recordings of Elton John, Carly Simon, BTO. But I did put in that they were untested, and that's what's written on there. So I had them for a long time, but they finally did sell for $20. So I was happy about that. For those of you who don't know, I charge shipping on everything. So everything I mention here is plus shipping. So buyer always pays shipping. I sold a shirt, this Hayes Carl Armadillo t-shirt in the 3XL. I don't know who Hayes Carl is. I think he's a musician, but yeah, I saw the design, the graphic on it, and I figured it would probably sell. And it did sell pretty quickly. $20 for that. English Chinese dictionary. Oh, we already had Chinese. It's not another language, but we have another Chinese dictionary of science and technology. So not just a dictionary, but dictionary of science and technology. The more specific you can get, the more likely it is to sell. And I sell a lot of very specific dictionaries, often in Chinese. So you'll have a dictionary of commerce, a dictionary of business, a dictionary of computer terms. And often it's English Chinese that I'm selling. All right. Okay. So this next one, it does deserve a little story. I don't know if I mentioned it when it happened at the time, but I'll mention it again whether or not. So I sold this. Greek Orthodox and Holy Week Easter, a new English translation hardcover, sold for $20. Okay, so someone's expecting to get that. And I also, the same day, sold this. a Lone Star beer logo hat for $25. You know where this is going. I swapped them up, put the wrong label on the wrong box, and the guy expecting the Greek Orthodox and Holy Week Easter book got a beer hat, and the guy expecting his Lone Star beer hat got the Greek Orthodox and Holy Week Easter thing. So I apologized profusely to both, asked them both to ship it back. They both did. I gave them full refunds and sent them their material at my cost of shipping. I think there were other ways to maybe go around it. I could have possibly had them send it to each other, but rather I didn't want to risk one of them not returning it. So I had them send them back to me, and I sent them their item at my cost with a full refund. Oh, here's another language. All right, 2 Corinthians in French, sold for $20. So we're ahead. That's like 4 or 5 languages now. And another songbook. So we're selling lots of language and lots of music today. Don Williams songbook from 1978, sold for $20. Then I found this. This is a Lemax Spooky Town Haunted House. Said it was retired in 2018. Sold for $22. Picked that up at the Goodwill bins, and I got another one that's still in the garage. It hasn't sold yet, but you know, I was happy about that. The Raven. This is not the As I Pondered, Weak and Weary Raven, but the Raven of Sam Houston. I guess his nickname was the Raven. So some Texas history by Marquis James, sold for $22.50. This is a nice version of that in a dust jacket. I mean, in a slipcover. Then we have a Jerusalem in the Quran, Islamic view of the destiny of Jerusalem, sold for $22.50. And then another religious book, Exposition of the Gospel of John, 3 volumes in 1 edition, $25. So religion, the theme of the day is always, religion is always going to sell. And then today we have religion, we have music, and we have languages seem to be the common thread here today. All right, moving up to $25. Now, psychological commentaries on the teachings of Gurdjieff and Auspen. Gurdjieff. Yeah, we'll go with Gurdjieff. $25. And then a copy of the Bhagavad Gita by Swami Chibavananda. And this is one out of a stated print run of 1 out of 10,000. So for $25, 1982 copy of the Bhagavad Gita. Science of the Clouds, 1970, little bitty kind of game for kids kind of a book. I was surprised as everything to sell that one for $25. This is a picture of Dorian Gray. So when I get a copy of a classic book like this, and I cannot find that exact copy anywhere, I'll go ahead and put, you know, unusual or rare or hard to find, something like that. Because it is. I mean, if I wanted another one of these, I couldn't buy one. If I looked all over the internet for this exact same copy and was unable to find nothing on eBay for sure at that time. And maybe I might have found one through WorldCat or one of those sites that search like libraries. But when it's hard to find, go ahead and say it's hard to find. Put that word in there. I find nothing wrong with that at all. $29 on that one. Then I sold another sketching pencil, Coeco sketching pencil for $30. That was a great find. I got those at the bin drop in Lake Jackson back when it was open a long time ago. And slowly sold like 7 of them one time. And then I still had a few left over. And so, yeah. All right, next we have Critical Clinicals. This is 70 cheat sheets for nursing school, sold for $30. All right, we are actually getting through this a little faster than I thought we would. We're up to the $30 now. How about this? Dan Stone's Holocaust, an unfinished story, sold for $30 as well. More Texas history. You gotta love Texas history. Stuck in the Mud at Post Oak Island, sold for $30. Leonardo da Vinci text from 1984. This was an Easton Press, sold for $30. Anything Easton Press, you're always going to want to look those up. There are some Easton Press that are very valuable, And there are some that are more like the collector's edition side of things, and they are less valuable, but they still sell. Another religious book, 1 Peter by John Elliott, Bible series, sold for $32. This one is funny. This had to be in Italian by Lou D'Angelo, 1969 book, sold for $36. It's just a little square book. It's just got a lot of, it's just funny. And I was surprised that it had that much value. Maybe Lou D'Angelo is somebody famous that I didn't know, or whatever reason, it was had a pretty good sell-through rate and sold for $36. Picked up some belt buckles at a local, I need to go back to this one. This was one of a little thrift store in the town closest to me that I hardly ever go into because there ain't much there. And but they had a bunch of belt buckles in their discount room. And they're brass belt buckles, a lot dealing with pipelines and things like that. So I put them up, a lot of 10 vintage brass and metal pipeline oil. Anna Cortez was one of the makers, and others, and put it up at auction. And actually got quite a few bids on it, and ended up selling those for $42.88. I think I paid $1 for all 10 of them, like 10 cents each. All right, moving on. We have the Betts Handbook of Industrial Water Conditioning, sold for $45. And then I sold another stamp. I always say this every time, I need to get back in that stamp album and see if there's any more that are worth listing. This is a 1943 Czechoslovakia commemorative sheet stamp exhibition in London, $85 for that one right there. So those stamps have been really good sellers. The Drug Information Handbook for Advanced Practice Nursing, sold for $90. That's a really good one to find. And then we have our big three. So big three, if you skipped ahead, welcome back. You missed some fun stuff, but I totally understand. The first one is this, an archaeological study Bible. And I just found another one of these the other day, and I saw it, and I was like, I think I've sold that before. And I looked it up. I was like, heck yeah, I did. It sold for $100. So the Archaeological Study Bible, an illustrated walk through biblical history, sold for $100. Archaeological Study Bibles. So as we've said before, when you're selling Bibles, if it's something unusual about it, something special about it, and this is one to look out for, Archaeological Study Bibles. The next one is also, so that's, I told you you're going to, I don't know, did I tell you this, or was it the one that I messed up on? But on my 3 big sales, I thought, one of the 3, you're going to be, yeah, it kind of makes sense. Another one you're going to be a little incredulous about. And then another one you'll be like, oh yeah, I totally get that. So that first one there, that's like, yeah, okay. All right, maybe. $100 for a Bible. Yeah, okay. How about this one? Henri Daniel Ropes, Israel and the Ancient World, A History of the Israelites. $100. Are you incredulous? I was. I couldn't believe that had that much value, but hey, that's what it said it was selling for, so that's what I listed it at, and that's what I sold it for. And the last one, you're going to be like, okay, I can see why this one could be worth that much money. $135 for a Julia Child and Company cookbook signed by Miss Julia Child. It's first edition from 1978, $135. There were several of that same book signed, and some of them were signed also by someone else, who I think also had the last name Child. So I don't know if that was a son. I don't know. But a lot of them online had 2 signatures. Mine had 1. The ones with 2 signatures were selling for more. But hey, $135 for something I dug out of the bins. Happy with that. So where does that leave us? That leaves us with 18 audiobooks. Total of $457.11. $25.40 average. Thank you very much. That is exactly what I was going for, as I predicted in the last video. So you know I'm not making this up. And then the books were 40 books for $1,151 for a $28.78 average, which is well above my completely made up and arbitrary figure of 25 that I consider a good sales period. So you made it through February. How was it? Leave me some comments. Was it just too much? I feel like it was too much. I think I was just going one after another. But we also got you out of here in 25 minutes, so, you know, you can enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you all for watching. Thanks for your comments. I do really appreciate all your thoughts. And always wanted to make this channel the best it can be, you know, while still sticking to what I enjoy doing. And so I sincerely appreciate any thoughts that you have. If anything I can improve upon, let me know. And we'll hopefully you'll be selling just the heck out of a bunch of stuff, if you're selling it all. And if not, maybe you're buying a bunch of stuff. That'd be great too. And anyways, we'll hopefully see you sooner rather than later. Adios. So I was editing the footage and I realized I forgot a sale, a big sale. So I did want to add that in here. And I sold this 7 Juliska or Huliska berry and thread whitewashed mugs. It was a set of 6 plus 1 extra mug that sold for $100. Couldn't leave that one out. And then also one other little, so fixing the errata from the video. The Don Wilson songbook actually got returned. It's not an actual sale, but I didn't realize that until later. So thank you for watching this horribly long video. Bye-bye.